Live Sports.
5 Live Formula One.
Hello and welcome to Baku in Azerbaijan for our coverage of the qualifying session. You're joining us online and on the Formula One app. Thank you for being with us. My name is Tom Clarkson, and joining me in commentary this afternoon we have former Le Mans winner and F1 driver Alan McNish. Well, how's this one going to pan out, Alan? We had Valtteri Bottas fastest in final practice this morning. Who's your money on now?
I think Valtteri Bottas, to be honest with you, is the type of circuit that he seems to go very well at, and he delivered some very, very quick times, but also very clever times, where he was taking. Bottas is on a bit of a confidence roll this particular track, but I don't think it's going to be easy, and I think it's going to be very tight, not just necessarily between the Ferraris, but also Red Bull. I think there's something in the Red Bull that could sneak it.
Okay, well, down in the pit lane this afternoon we have Jenny Gao. Jenny, it's been a busy session for various teams since that final practice session. What news have you got?
Yeah, it really has been. The heat has been on for Ferrari, Red Bull and Renault, all of them having one car that needed a lot of work doing to them. We'll start at the top and work down in the order that they're in the pit lane. So Ferrari, Sebastian Vettel had a hydraulic problem. They've changed the engine. They've gone back to power unit number 1. It's a similar problem that they had in Spain. They haven't been able to rectify it yet. So an old power unit going into that car around a very power-hungry circuit. Will that prove his 12 points in the lead of the championship? Let's see what he can do today. Then is Max Verstappen. He had a problem. His car stopped out on track. Another hydraulics leak, but the team has managed to fix that. So both teams in the garages next to each other, really having to race against time. And then as you potter down towards the end, the Renault of Jolyon Palmer, big fire in the engine of his car, belching out smoke and flames from the exhaust. They put a lot of fire extinguisher stuff into the car, which never really helps it. And I'm just hearing from Andrew Benson, our chief Formula One writer, that he will not take part in qualifying. Too much work to be done, so he is out. He should get permission to actually race tomorrow, but it will be from potentially the back of the grid, although maybe those McLarens will probably be behind him. That's still to be decided.
Oh, very depressing news for Jolyon Palmer. He made it through to Q2 in Canada last time out, but actually on our monitors we're looking at his car now. He isn't going to take no further part this afternoon, so very tough luck for Jolyon. Now, what about that Ferrari power unit, Alan? He's going back to the first one he used this year, is Sebastian Vettel. Is there much drop-off in performance as you add mileage to these power units? Is he going to suffer?
Well, they certainly don't get faster. That's the reason that they try to manage the power life. And as Jenny very correctly said, on a power-hungry circuit, a circuit where you need to have good torque also at a 2-kilometre straight, you want the maximum performance in that. And, you know, they're not out to... It doesn't help Sebastian Vettel. Kimi Raikkonen on the other side of things, he was second fastest this morning, so it's not as if Ferrari's out of the game. And also Raikkonen was the quickest in the third sector, which is the long 2K straight.
Now, Jenny, it's been busy for you, because I think you've got news from McLaren as well.
It has. There was I, thinking I might get lunch with Will.i.am and the Black Eyed Peas, but no, my super break was interrupted to go to McLaren Honda because they have more penalties. Fernando Alonso, 40 places on the grid when they start the race tomorrow. Stoffel Vandoorne has 30, but they've had to replace his gearbox. So add another 5, 35. So in total, 75 places that the McLaren Honda team will have to take. It just means they'll start at the end. They can't go further back. They can't start in Styria.
No, but they won behind them, because if Jolyon Palmer doesn't do qualifying, he will start behind them. And thank you very much, Amit Mandali, for that little bit of confirmation there on the regulations. It was one of the questions we had, where will Jolyon actually end up if he doesn't do qualifying? He'll be behind the McLarens.
Oh dear. So yes, poor Jolyon. It's a beautiful afternoon for qualifying here. Just in case you're wondering where we are in the world, we're about 560 miles east of Sochi, which was the location for the Russian Grand Prix a couple of months ago. Behind our commentary box, we've got the beautiful Caspian Sea. In front of our commentary lane, and Jenny Gao, and behind Jenny is the government building that was built in 1934, we found out last night. And so it's a very beautiful setting. It's the second race in Azerbaijan, should I say, here in Baku. But we're underway now. Q1 is underway. Find anyone who's new to Formula One. This is an 18-minute session, at the end of which the slowest 5 drivers will be eliminated. So it's a game of musical chairs at the end. You want to be make sure you've got your seat firmly planted into Q2, and had a little chat with the engineers earlier who said that you need to be doing a mid 1 minute 4 this afternoon.
Well, that's quicker than what they did this morning in third 3 practice as well. So, you know, it's also quicker than what they did last year for pole position for Nico Rosberg. Shows the pace of development.
Pace of development, and we're now... Sebastian Vettel is on his way. So correctly said, the Ferrari team has done a great job installing that new power unit into the back of his Ferrari. He's going out. It'll be a bit of an install for him initially, just to check all the systems are working okay, but it's getting busy down there now as everyone is heading out on the super soft tyre. Pirelli have brought 3 tyre compounds to this Grand Prix, as is fastest of those 3 is the super soft tyre, and there's such a drop-off in...
Front temps are good right now, just keep them up as best you can.
Tough because you've got a lot of 90-degree corners and then big straights at the beginning of the lap. Then you've got a very narrow, tight and twisty section, and then towards the end of the lap it's got a 2K straight. So therefore you need to have a lot of sort of downforce and grip in the first 2 sectors, but then after that you need to have the car as slippery as that compromise. But it also, for the drivers, means it's difficult because they need to try to ensure they get a lot of tyre temperature, which they've been struggling with, especially the front tyre temperatures coming up much slower than the rears. And so for a qualifying lap, I don't think you're going to see it in lap 2 and possibly 3, and it could be decided by slipstream. Massa.
Yeah, just need to warm up the tires, otherwise it will...
Okay, there's our first expletive of the afternoon from Felipe Massa, all about warming the tyres, and the front tyres in particular. Now, Alan, when we talk about street circuits in Formula, we'll immediately think of Monaco. Is this track, because it's so long, it's the longest in...
It's demise to Monaco. Monaco is a little bit tighter, it's a bit, you know, of a unique circuit. This one's slightly more uniform at the beginning because of the fact that straight, turn left, turn right, straight. Whereas then it gets into quite a difficult section, which is obviously proved very difficult through turns 8, 9 and 10, round the old part, which is a big steep hill, much more than expected. It's kind of similar Santiago up towards the casino in its steepness, but the narrowest cornering section in the Formula One calendar. And that's where Jolyon Palmer crashed yesterday, it's where Sergio Perez crashed yesterday. So it's got its own sort of uniqueness there. Nico Hülkenberg, we've seen in our monitors, he's not... but he's been very close to being the first person to tag the wall.
Yeah, always got to keep it out of the walls. Well, we've got 18 of the 20 cars are now on track. It might indeed be a 3.7-mile circuit, this, but when you've got 18 cars on there, you've got to be very careful where you position yourself to ensure you get a clean lap. And as Alan has just said, that fastest lap time is probably not going to come on that first flying lap, because even these super soft tyres take so long to warm up. So getting that clear track is absolutely vital, as we're actually seeing Kevin Magnussen locking up into turn 2 in his Haas. So indeed, just proving the point how difficult it is to get tyre temperature. But our first are now coming in. It's the 18-year-old Canadian Lance Stroll who sits at the top of the timesheet.
So you've got Sainz behind his flying lap.
Is what? He's pushing?
I'm not sure. Just stay ahead of him. No more weaving and just stay ahead.
Okay, so that's all about track position. That was Esteban Ocon being advised where he is on the track, who's coming up behind him, what to look out for. But as I said, Lance Stroll is currently sitting at the top of the timesheets with a 1 minute 44.9. Behind him comes Danny Kvyat, Fernando Alonso and the rest. We're waiting at the moment for the likes of Lewis Hamilton, Valtteri Bottas and the Ferraris to set their first flying lap.
Yeah, and Bottas now on the start and finish straight, just coming along, waiting for them to come past us here in our comms box, looking directly over their pits. And there Bottas goes now to start his lap.
And our first incident of the qualifying session, Carlos Sainz has overturned 2. He's had to reverse against the oncoming traffic. That's not what the green cross code tells you to do, but he's managed to get on his way again. Drama.
And that's just as Valtteri Bottas got there, so I don't think he'll have had a yellow kite. Was on his way by definitely gone, and 4 seconds behind him. At the same time, you've got Stoffel Van Dorn there as well, and so Hamilton's the one that's got the clear lap. But as you said, it's a case of building up right now in terms of getting the lap time. It's not going to be in lap 1, it's probably going to be in lap 2.
We're just information. We're on the wrong delta time, so just ignore.
Yesterday, Friday, fastest in second practice, and as I speak, he's just been usurped by Sergio Perez in the Force India, who's now fastest with a 1:43.4. We're still half a second or so to her in final practice this morning, but the lap times are just getting faster and faster. The engine you can hear in the background is that of a Ferrari.
And it will be brake balance, 2 clicks rearwards. Make a good gap to Max. Brake balance, 2 clicks rearwards.
Here on the start-finish straight to start his first flying lap. You can actually hear a bit of banging there. Is that the car bottoming out, Alan?
Yeah, it is. It's the key tray, which is directly under the driver's knees, and it's the front of the floor, and it's just pattering against the small bumps, and you try to run it at the end of the straight maximum speed at the lowest ride height, and that's just the point there. Once he brakes, the car actually all lifts up, and then you stop that pattering. As long as it doesn't disturb the drive, don't worry about it. You just make sure that it's at the limit. However, you've got to be careful you're not too low, because it can also then go.
What do you want from the cool down lap? Cool the surface, Try and make space if you can now to build bulk in the final sector, because you've got Massa and Stroll ahead at the moment.
Before you come to the old, I would say, very narrow section of circuit, so he's quite fortunate that he was still at the wide area. When I say wide, you've got some parts of the circuit that are 7 metres wide, about a normal 2-car road, and then you've got some parts of the circuit that are 6, 7 lane. It's like a highway, it's like a motorway in the start and finish straight.
Now accelerating flat out through turns 14. He's now coming down. This is Vettel. We're still talking about coming down into 15. Inch perfect there, and he's now accelerating into what is actually the last out. Vettel negotiates 16 very successfully, and he's now just zigzagging his way through 17, 18. Flat on the gas. We're looking to our left in our commentary box.
Okay, so next car behind Bottas, Hamilton is
16th fastest.
Yeah, but Max Verstappen, he's on the fastest middle sector of anybody as he comes to cross the line, and Max Verstappen looks like he's going to be the first guy into the 42s. 42.860 for Verstappen. That's the gauntlet put down. But hey, Tom, look at this. We've got Lewis Hamilton quickest in the first